y'all? I'm CJ Hill. First and foremost, thank you all for tuning in. This is one of my favorite times and favorite seasons of the year. As we know, March Madness just transpired. Congratulations to the University of Virginia for winning the NCAA tournament, basketball tournament all together. It was great. It was exciting. It was competitive. Though it does suck that my bracket took a hit once Duke and North Carolina lost, nevertheless, it was still great and entertaining basketball to watch. Now that that is over, now we have NBA playoff basketball. Listen, guys, I love basketball. I love it. I watch the NBA basketball all day, every day. I watch college basketball all day, every day. And I'm excited for this year's playoffs. As we see, there have been a couple of upsets. And I'm actually glad to see that because nobody likes boring basketball. Nobody likes for teams to get swept. At least I don't. I can speak for myself. I don't like for teams to get swept. It just makes for boring TV, boring basketball. So I'm excited. One of the games that really surprised me with upsets was one of the first games was the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets beat the 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers, 111-102. Man, oh man. And listen, Brooklyn is not a team to play around with. But let's be honest. I don't really see Brooklyn making out the first round. Though they are a great team, I don't really see them making out the first round. But it was refreshing to see them win the very first game of this series, man. You know, you got D'Angelo Russell dropping 26 points in 29 minutes. My man made 10 field goals out of 25. He shot 40%. He made 4 out of 5 free throws. He was 33% from the three-point line, which is about average. And he didn't do too bad. Joe Harris came with 13. Spencer Dinwiddie scored 18 points. I love him, man. I love him coming off the bench. And Karis LeVert dropped 23. Ed Davis had 12 points and 16 rebounds. It was all a collective win, honestly. Damari Carroll, he had 11 points. It was good all around. And then you look at Philly, man. Philly, they're a stacked team to me. They're really a stacked team. You have Jimmy Butler. He dropped 36 points and 9 rebounds. Clutch Jimmy buckets. And I think, honestly, the X factor for this series, for at least for Philadelphia, is Tobias Harris. In this first game of this playoff series, Tobias Harris only scored 4 points in 40 minutes. And it was all off of 7 attempts. He shot 28% from the field, didn't make any threes. He's the X factor for this team. Him and JJ Redick. JJ Redick only had 5 points off of 7 attempts as well. Joel Embiid, he did all right. Let's be honest. He did subpar. He had 22 points, but it was off of 15 attempts. And 12 of those points came from the free throw line. He made 12 free throws out of 18, which is not bad. And then you have Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, both of them together are the X factors for this series. Ben Simmons only had 9 points in 32 minutes off of 9 field goals. And if you're the coach for Philadelphia, that got to be hurting you. In order for this team to succeed, Ben Simmons, he has to be aggressive because, as we know, he doesn't have that three-point shooting ability. At least not yet. He hasn't matured that three-point shot, or honestly, he hasn't matured even a jump shot just yet. A consistent jump shot, not yet. He hasn't, perfected that just yet. So he has to be aggressive with attacking the basket, posting up. He has to do these things in order for them to win this series and even to make it all the way to the finals. I believe, in my opinion, that Philadelphia can make it to the finals. It's between Philadelphia, the Raptors, and the Celtics to make the finals for the East. So that's my pickings. And I say that, but I'm also surprised that Orlando Magic beat the Raptors. And to be honest, I think the Raptors underestimated the Magic. I watched that game. Honestly, I saw all of these games. I watched the Magic and Raptors games, and it was a great game. It was really a great game. It was good to see Kawhi be clutch. I know he didn't make that last three, but he was fading away with that last 3 attempt to try to tie the game. And, I would like to see him shoot that without fading away. But nevertheless, it was a great game. Augustine That man's a baller. He used to play for the Bulls. He's a veteran. He's a veteran. He's savvy. He's shifty. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he's smart. He knows how to get to where he needs to get to, and he knows basically how to pick his spots to be effective. So seeing the Magic win that, it was a surprise, but I think the Raptors are definitely going to win that series with no problem. And then the other two games, at least from that first night, were the Clippers and the Warriors. I think the Clippers are going to put up a fight against the Warriors, but I don't see the Clippers prevailing against the Warriors. You have that I say four-headed dragon because Draymond has disappeared this season. He's played great in the previous seasons, but this year, I honestly think he faded off, and he slowly disappeared this year. So for this series, I believe Draymond is the X factor for this team. Honestly, Kevin Durant had 23 points. You got Thompson. He was not really shooting too well. He had 12 points off of 14 shots, shooting for 35%, which is not really, Klay Thompson-esque. He normally does better. Curry, who I'm hoping he'll just ball out in this playoffs. That's what we're all looking and hoping to see. At least, Golden State Warrior fans. I'm not really a Warrior fan. I love the way Curry and Durant play together. Curry dropped 38 points with 15 rebounds and 7 assists, and he did pretty good, shooting 68%. It was just, when Curry's going, man, he's going. When he's shooting lights out, he is. When he's shooting on the hot streak, that's really hard to stop him. And on the other side of the court, you have my man Lou Williams. Sweet Lou Williams. He dropped 25 points. And honestly, Lou Williams is going to be their go-to guy. To me, in my personal opinion, I see that duo of Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell. That pick and roll is deadly. No matter who plays against them. I watched them in a lot of games throughout this year. And Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams and that pick and roll is deadly. It's hard to be stopped. It's almost unstoppable because it's either Lou Williams coming off of that pick, really was a high pick. It's mostly a high pick, and he's coming off of that high pick, and it's hard to stop him because Lou Williams is a consistent threat. He's consistently attacking you, and not only is he a bona fide professional crazy scorer, he's also a good facilitator for the team. And he had 9 assists in this first game. Even though they lost by 17 points, he still had 25 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Montreal had 26 points. My man Gallinari from the Nuggets, he had 15 points. And I think he's the X factor for this team. Gallinari, he's actually an all-star to me. He was balling out when he got to Denver. He was balling out. And that's unfortunate. But injuries has slowed his career down. But he's an all-around great player. He's a big guy. He's a good stretch four, and I think he could be the X factor for them to beat the Warriors. If you got him going, Montrezl Harrell going, and you got Lou Williams going, watch out. You gotta watch out. And then you got Patrick Beverley, man. He's a tenacious defender. Some people don't like the way he defends, but I love it because he plays. I'm not gonna say he plays the right way, but he plays the win. He plays the win, and he's one of those players. He reminds me of a dirty version of Bruce Bowen. I don't know if anybody remember Bruce Bowen from the Spurs. He was a corner 3 specialist and he tried his best to lock your best ball player on the other team down. Bruce Bowen, number 12 from the San Antonio Spurs. He was a great player, and honestly, Patrick Beverley had that. He has that same tenacity in him with desiring to shut down the other player. And another player that comes to mind is Gary Payton. I'm not saying he's on these levels. I'm just saying he has that intensity about him that I'm going to try my best to, shut this person down. I'm going to try my best to shut down, the best player of this team. So it's exciting to see. He's not much of a shot maker, honestly. He only had 3 points in the whole game off of six attempts, but he's not much of a scorer. He doesn't really look to score. But I think, honestly, the Warriors could come off It may be a 6 or 7 game series, but I think the Warriors could pull it off. So I'm excited about that one. And last but not least, this is honestly my favorite series of the playoffs. Between this one and the Warriors and Clippers, honestly, to me, this is just my perspective. To me, this is the most exciting playoff series of the playoffs, and that's Oklahoma City versus Trailblazers. You got playoff P, which is Paul George versus Damian Lillard. And I know you got the other two stars, Russell Westbrook and CJ McCollum. And honestly, this series, it could really go either way. I'm a huge fan of Paul George. I'm a huge fan of Damian Lillard. I just love the way both of them play. They're assassins, man. And the difference is when Dame Dollar is effective regardless. You know, Damian Lillard, he's effective regardless. Paul George, he has his you know, he goes through dry spells of when he's not making shots. And you know what happens, but regardless, he's still going to get his points. Paul George had 26 points, 10 rebounds, but he had 26 points off of 24 attempts, which was 33% from the field. He made all his free throws. He took 15 threes and only made 4, but one of those was real clutch because it brought them within 1. So to me, at this time of the year, you know, even though I'm giving you guys the stats and everything, stats don't really matter. At the end of the day, who won the game? You know, I mean, stats matter when you want to talk about who was a great player and you start talking about GOAT and all that. But right now, we just talking about winning this series, winning the game. And at the end of the day, you know, you just really just want to win the game. So I could appreciate Paul George's effort with the 15 threes and the 24 attempts because he just wanted to win. At that point, he didn't care about his stats because he could have stopped shooting. He could have been like, all right, I got to save my percentage, you know, because certain players, they care about that. They care about the stats. But anyway, that's me ranting, you know, just going on the bunny trail. But I think the X factor for the Thunder would be Grant. I would say Grant and Ferguson. I definitely think Terrence Ferguson, he's a good he's a good 3-point shooter. And he's real good on defense. He's actually real good on defense. Dennis Schroeder is going to get his shots. He's going to get, you know, his shots. He just has to knock them down. He was 5 from 17. He only shot 29%. And I think they'll bounce back. I think this series could go 6 or 7 games. And literally, it could go either way. I think the Blazers could pull it off because of the inconsistencies of Paul George. At times, he's clutch. Don't get me wrong. Paul George is clutch when you need him. But it's, you know, warming up because I definitely know they finished the season. They didn't finish the season strong. Paul George, he struggled in the beginning in almost every game as the season ended, and it actually, unfortunately, spilled over into the playoffs. Russell Westbrook is a beast. Mr. Triple Double. I think that should be his new nickname, Mr. Triple Double. He in the first game of the playoffs, my man dropped 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. And it was only off of 17 shots. He shot 47% from the field, which is good. He made all 8 of his free throws. He didn't make any threes, though. This year was honestly his worst year when it comes to 3-point percentage. He actually shot, I think, 30% from 3 for this year. And it was a little rough for him this year. But if he can get it going, and if Paul George and Westbrook could get it going, and that supporting cast could come in, then the Thunder could pull it off. And then, you know, on the other side, you got Damian Lillard, who I believe Damian Lillard was making statement shots because he started off the game with a long three. And then you saw it throughout the game that he's just like, all right, you're going to leave me open? Knock down. Damian Lillard ended up with 30 points off of 21 shots. He shot 42%, almost 43%. He made 7 free throws out of 8, and he made 5 threes out of 11. He shot 45% from there. And then you got CJ McCollum, who is just consistently improving every single year. Oh my gosh, he had Ferguson on skates. Like, whoever was guarding him, he's just like, I'm getting by you or I'm pulling up. He had 24 points, and he was balling as well off of 24 shots, though, which is 37%, which is not bad. And he made 3 threes out of 7 for 42%. And the tough thing, the tough thing for the Blazers is The tough thing for the Blazers, and this is every year, is their supporting cast. This year, the X factor for the Trailblazers, honestly, is their supporting cast. Rodney Hood has to bring it. He has to play well. Seth Curry, which is Steph Curry's brother, he actually did good. He had 8 points, and he has to consistently bring that energy and bring that 3-point threat. Enes Kanter, he had 20 points and 18 rebounds. Enes Kanter could play. He can play offensively, but he's a defensive liability. There were many times in the pick and roll with Westbrook and Adams, Steven Adams, that Adams was just easily getting to the basket. And then if Westbrook didn't dish it off to Adams, Westbrook had Kanter on an island, and Westbrook would either pull up or blow by him. So Kanter's not that great. Honestly, he's not that good of a defensive player, but as long as he can continue to put up those type of numbers, honestly, the Blazers could pull it off. Aminu, he was balling. He's inconsistent. He hits here and there, but when he hits, it's just a good plus for the team. Maurice Harkless, I'm sorry. I have nothing to say about him. My man only had 2 points, which is not too bad. For his career, he averages 7 points anyway. He only averages 7 points off of 47%. That's for his career. So far, not bad. You don't really expect much out of them. So to me, that's the most exciting series of this playoffs for right now. And So that's everything of the first games of the playoffs, man. I'm excited. So you guys definitely, if you enjoyed what you've heard, like, comment, subscribe. Definitely comment. If you disagree, I'm cool if you disagree or agree. Let me know what you think about each playoff series in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the series, what you think about the players, who you think is going to win the East, who you think is going to win the West, or who you think is going to win each series. Let me know. And then let me know if you think it's going to go 7 games for certain series or not. So, definitely comment below. And if you enjoy what you hear, if you enjoy what you heard, like and click that bell on the right and definitely subscribe. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will be back when all the second games are over, and we'll go from there, man. Again, I'm CJ Hill. First and foremost, thank you for tuning in.